Good morning, and welcome to the Swift Accelerator Class of 2026 program briefing. I'm Jia Chen. Along with me are some members of the Swift Accelerator team, YJ, Tristan, and Brian. Throughout this session, if you have any questions, please feel free to scan the QR code located at the bottom right corner of the screen. For those watching the recording, feel free to scan the QR code. We will respond to your questions via email. With that admin out of the way, we have a very exciting agenda lined up for you today. Starting off, we're going to have YJ, who's going to share a bit about the program and the people behind it. Then after that, Tristan and I will give you a bit of context on how the program works and all of those details. Then after that, Brian's going to come in, talking about how you can apply for the program. Finally, we're going to wrap up with a Q&A segment where you can ask any of your questions and we're going to reply to all of those that you've asked throughout the session. So let's get started. A really important part of Swift Accelerator are the people behind the program. So here's YJ to tell you more.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm here to tell you a bit about the people behind the program, and I think we have to start off with an acknowledgement of the people who are paying for the program. That's the Infocom Media Development Authority, and this is a program that's an official part of their Infocom Media Roadmap and their Infocom Media Clubs program here in Singapore. And while you do not necessarily have to be a member of an Infocom Media Club, we are very grateful for their support, and they've been supporting this program all the way back since 2018. So just a quick shout out to our IMDA friends. We really appreciate their support, and of course all the great work that they do with all the Infocom clubs here in Singapore. I'd also like to tell you about us, right? So we are Tinker Academy, and we are an Apple Consultants Network partner. You might have seen us in the schools. We might have worked with some of you in your various Infocom media clubs. We might have worked with you on things like Code for Fun. And I think it's useful to know a little bit about where we came from, just to provide a bit of a background on the program. So our goal is really just to make sure that people know how to code and people get to make things. Right? I think that's simple enough. Right? We enjoy making things, and we think that there are lots of people out there who also enjoy making things, and we hope to enable that, right? Whether it's a physical thing, or in this case, it's in the case of an iOS app. So along the way, we are actual practitioners. We've built apps somewhere along the way, right? We built curriculum. We actually make sure that we try to develop people around. I'll tell you more about these folks sitting with me right here afterwards. I'll let them introduce themselves. And yeah, I think the key thing is we just want to make sure that we're here to make something. And I think all this got started with us actually building apps. So I'd like to tell you a little bit of a story about us building apps way back in the day. I think this was slightly over 10 years ago. So we started Tinker Academy about, I want to say 14 to 15 years ago. And along the way, we were app developers. And this app over here is something that we built for an audience. This was at the heyday of everyone needs to have an app. So we thought, okay, well, let's build something. Let's get people to pay for it. We're going to build a company around that. We're going to become an app product company. And I'll tell you more about this later, but a couple of us in the founding team, we used to be teachers. So we thought, well, we know what teachers need. We know what teachers use in the classroom. So let's build an app for teachers, right? You might have seen your teacher walking into the classroom with like an attendance sheet. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, this student didn't submit something today. I need to call this student's parents. I need to do a whole bunch of things. And they need to do a lot of things. I hope you appreciate your teachers. And we thought we could help solve that problem. So we built, I guess, a to-do list for teachers, a contextual to-do list. It knows exactly when your classes are. It knows who's in your class. And we thought, yeah, that should be something pretty useful, right? We had a couple of years of teaching experience. And we thought we knew that it would be, we just thought that let's build it, and people will buy things, and we'll make a lot of money, and we'll become, like famous iOS developers. Yeah, well, that didn't quite happen. So this is the actual chart of what we made over the entire lifetime of the app. I don't know if any of you have done any business classes or anything like that, or economics classes, but we made about $450. That is not enough to sustain a 3-person company, but I like to think that we learned a lot along the way. So that's one lesson, right? That's one lesson, that you really need to know who you're building for and why you're building it. And I think we'll get a bit more into that as we go through this briefing. The second one over here, that's my face, is an app that we put up also about 15 years ago, and this is an app that solved a real problem. And the interesting thing about this is that it's still in use. Embarrassingly enough, we haven't updated it in about 10 years. I am very sorry to anyone who's trying to use it. It still seems to work, so I think that's okay. This is an IC photo app. It's, for lack of a better word, it's a way to take selfies that are useful, I guess. If you ever need to update your passport photo or your IC photo, you need to submit a photo to the Immigration and Checkpoint Authority, and they don't have an easy way for you to do that, so you can use us. Right? Used to be that you had to, go into photo editing software, figure out where to put your eyes, figure out where to put your mouth, and then you send it in. So giving away our age here, but we were at that age where we had to submit our IC photos, and mine got rejected, right? Even though I knew everything I needed to know about photo editing and things like that, I still got rejected. And we always had our friends and family come to us and say, how do I fix this? So we built an app for that. And this is really how we learned how to build for iOS. So if any of you are in a situation where you want to learn and you need some motivation to do it, well, just getting started building something is really one of the things that we hope that you can do as part of this program. And what was really heartening for me was seeing people actually using this. So this is a free app, it's still available. You can go search for IC photo, you can see my face, unfortunately. We couldn't afford to pay anyone for the model. But what was really heartening was, like the whole bunch of people downloaded it. I think we have about a few 100,000 downloads over the last 10 years, which is, not too bad. We don't make much money of it, but I think what really stood out for me was that one time I was in a mall and I just happened to see a mom, asking her 3 or 4-year-old kid to stand against the wall and just like pointing a phone at it and asking the kid not to move. And I kind of snuck a peek and I saw, hey, they're using my app. And I think that's really cool, right? I think that's a nice feeling that I hope that you can take away if you ever join us for this program. The last app I want to show you is a bit more corporate, right? And this one, there's a bit of a story behind it. And again, giving away my age, we built this about, 10 to 15 years ago. And this is around the time where a lot of our friends were getting married, right? So your parents will know this, or any parents who are listening to this, there's a period of time when all your friends are getting married and you're being invited to weddings and dinners and things like that. We were asked to help our friend with his thing, right? And he said, okay, well, I think maybe we could help you with guest registration, or we could build a ridiculously over-engineered complex app for you. So we did that. Right? And at which point he left the country. This is true, he actually left the country. He's back, right? I don't think he left the country because of us. So the interesting thing was we built an app to register guests at weddings, right? So we brought iPads and people could just scan their attendance. This was even before QR codes became a big thing. So we send out QR codes, they scan the QR codes, they know who they're sitting with, and this was pretty nice. And we made this into an actual business, and this was this was something that we actually built up into part of our business over the years. One thing we realized along the way was that wedding couples are not repeat clients. I'll let that sit for a moment, right? If wedding couples come back to us with another engagement, we would feel a bit sad for them, I guess. But corporates are clients, and along the way, we've served a lot of big banks and the big events and things like that. Unrelated, but this entire business went away during somewhere around 2020. If you can figure out why, please go ahead. Okay, so that's about the company, right? That's just to give you a bit of background about who we are and why we're here and things like that. I'd like to just introduce myself a little bit. My name is YJ. I haven't said very much about myself. This is me. That's my face. That used to be my LinkedIn profile. I have terrible LinkedIn profile pictures. I have a new and even worse one now, so please forgive me. I guess in terms of just letting you all know, like the people behind this, I think it's important, right? Because we will be spending quite a bit of time with us. If you read the website, you will have seen that it's a 180-hour program. It won't just be me just talking to you all the time. In fact, we will be talking as little as humanly possible. We want you to do things, but I think it's still useful to get to know us a little bit, right? So for me, I used to be a teacher, right? I took a teaching scholarship. I studied at Stanford, and I say that mainly because at Stanford, I took a very fun intro programming class, and it's still one of their most popular classes over there right now. It's called CS 106. And the interesting thing is that 80% of the freshman cohort actually takes this class, even if they're not computer science majors. And that's been really inspiring, just seeing how they make programming interesting and applicable and a fun hands-on experience for everyone. And that's something we've been hoping to do here in Singapore and here with our company, Think Academy. Along the way, I came back, I taught at RI, and that was fun. And what was really fun was getting to see students make things in their Infocom club. So that's something I hold dear to my heart in all these years. This was, again, giving away my age here, this was about 20 years ago. So after leaving to start the company, right, this is something that I really wanted to do all along, which is to let everyone have a chance to make something, right? Let everyone have a chance to build something, go in depth, and make something interesting. And just now, I guess, one thing that you might have seen was we made all these different things for work, right? We made an app for hands-on, we made an IC photo app, we made a guest registration app, we made a teacher's app. I also want to highlight that you might not need to be making an app for a business purpose, right? You might just want to be able to make an app for fun. So on screen, this is a demo of an app called Boop Snoop, B-O-O-P-S-N-O-O-P. You can look it up. You won't be able to find it on the App Store because the guy who made it, Robin Sloan, he's a writer, and he just made this app entirely for his own family, right? So he has a grand total of 4 users. He made this app because he wants to keep in touch with his family. He's American, so they live on different coasts in the US. There's like a 3-hour flight apart. And he just made it because he wanted something that they could use and he couldn't find anything to meet those needs. And I thought that was really inspiring. And that's something that you can think about, right? In an article that he wrote, he likened learning to code to being able to cook. When you learn to cook, you might not be trying to make it as a professional chef. You might not be wanting to start your own restaurant. All you might want to do is to make a home-cooked meal, which I think is a pretty amazing thing to be able to do. And there's one more app that kind of embodies this, right? This is an app made by a former student. And this former student was interning with us during the pandemic, right? This was when I was trying to teach classes online, and it was very difficult and just a lot of pain. And what I really wanted to do was I wanted to be able to draw on my Mac as I was pointing out things on my Mac during my online classes. So I asked this student, is there an app for that? And we went online, we found an app, it cost about $2. And then he told me, no, don't pay $2 for it. I'll make it over the weekend for you. And I was like, what? No, stop it. There's much better ways to use your time. Stop it, right? I'll just pay the $2 and buy the app. By Monday, he had finished, and then he showed it to me, right? The app is available on the App Store. It's called Friction. And I'd like to introduce that student to you. His name is Jia Chen, and he's our next presenter.
Okay, thank you, YG. So, I'm Jia Chen, and I'm from the class of 2018, and I've been kind of part of the Super Accelerator team since, 2021-ish. It's been a really long journey, and so let me just share a bit more about myself. So, starting off, I think I should start off with some credentials. So, I started out, with Think Academy, as YJ mentioned. I was supporting a lot of their Swift programs and initiatives, with the Infocom clubs, with Swift Accelerator, and that was where I was starting out with my internship and all of that, teaching in a lot of different schools. And then I started helping out in Swift Accelerator back in 2019, more or less, popping up and then showing up and then helping out with random code. But eventually, more formally, teaching stuff in 2021 when I started to become the assistant instructor and all of that. And then that evolved into me joining the Apple Developer Academy, which these are basically schools set up by Apple. And one of the amazing things about it is that, the curriculum and everything, it is really this really unique hands-on curriculum. And it was one of the things that I really took away from my time there, which was basically this idea where students would really take their agency and build things on their own and come up with interesting projects on their own. And that's why, when I came back to Swift Accelerator after that experience, it was when we really transformed a lot of the learning here to really adopt that. I guess along the way, I also teach at a couple of other places that you might see me. I don't think any of the students here might see me there, but I also teach at Ngee Ann Poly and NUS. So I teach iOS courses at both schools, and it's a lot of fun, meeting a lot of different students and seeing what they're working on. So a bit about, how I got started here. So this is me back in 2018. So this was my graduation. We actually had the last batch graduation a week before last. And it's really incredible every single graduation. Every time we look at all of these kids graduate, It's amazing. And this was me back in 2018 when I first graduated, and that's YJ. So I used to be a lot shorter. Now I think I'm still shorter than YJ, but almost there. And what's really remarkable is the instant I graduated, the first session for the next year, here I was, back helping out, back running stuff, planning activities. And this was just me, going like, hey YJ, can I help out with this? And he was like, why not? And that kind of evolved from there. And from there I met, Tim Cook, and I gave some sharings with him. And I also started working at the Developer Academy and all of that. And over the time, I've had the opportunity to go to WWDC, learn from the developer communities there, meet up with so many other amazing developers from around the world. The folks that you would only read about, online, where you're like, this person, they wrote this article and writes all of these amazing tutorials, and you finally meet them in person. It's really incredible. And I think what helps to ground a lot of my journey here, and the reason why I'm back even after 9 years or so, is really just this idea of community. My favorite part is really about this community, and in my free time, I help to manage the Singapore Apple developer community, like iOS Dev Scout, which is our Apple developer community for iOS, Spatial Singapore for Apple Vision Pro, and it's really inspiring looking at all of these developers, students, and all of this kind of thing, because we've had students who have been part of these communities get internships, get all of these opportunities, and it's really, really remarkable when you see what can come out of this. So with that, now I'd like you to meet someone who has been helping me out with a lot of different community events. So here's Tristan.
Thank you, Jiachen. So, hi guys, I'm Tristan from the Swift Accelerator class of 2023. I'm a Year 2 student in Ngee Ann Polytechnic this year, and I've been back to help out with Swift Accelerator since 2024, right after I graduated from the program. Honestly, if you were to ask me, I don't really know how I got here. I guess I should clarify, I don't mean how I physically got here today, which involved taking an MRT and a lot of walking, but I mean how I ended up coming back almost every single session after I graduated to help out with the new batches of students, and how I'm even a part of this program at all. Just 3 short years ago, I was completely unaware of the Swift Accelerator program. My introduction to it came when a friend, the only one applying from my secondary school that year, was keen to join. Pressured by him, I ended up applying for the program, and honestly, I'm glad that I did that. So, here's a photo from one of my first few sessions of the program. Considering that I basically applied and went into the program with no knowledge of what it entailed, I was pleasantly surprised by how chill but yet chaotic the environment was, which honestly forced me to step way out of my comfort zone to interact and work with my group mates. Throughout my time as a student in the program, I've met so many new like-minded individuals, and made a couple of friends too, some of whom I still regularly keep in contact with till this day. Additionally, the support from the alumni who regularly came back to volunteer left a lasting impression on me, inspiring me to want to give back in the same way and help future students just as they'd helped me. After graduating, I was keen to return to help out, to give back to the program that I had enjoyed being a part of. I expected to just come back and give my time to the new students. That's it. What I didn't expect was to find a whole community of alumni, all just as eager to volunteer and make a difference. It's honestly inspiring how so many people keep coming back every year, not because they have to, but because they genuinely want to support each other and the future students as well. The spirit of giving back and helping out extends beyond just this program. Working with Jiachen, we've ran student-led events and initiatives right here in Singapore. It's been fulfilling to see students grow and connect through these events, and being part of such a passionate student developer community is something I truly cherish. This opportunity to contribute and support others really motivates me to continue with what I do. And it's the people in the community that make it worthwhile after all. So, back to where it all began. Sometimes, life takes you in directions you never expected. Looking back, it's really surprising how much this program has become a part of my story and a part of my life. I feel genuinely grateful to have the chance to give back to the program. And being able to contribute and support others is something I never would have imagined was possible. And I wouldn't have traded it for anything. I don't know how I got here, but I'm glad I'm here. With that, I'll hand it over to someone who probably knows why he is here. So here's Brian.
Thank you, Tristan. Hello, I'm Brian from Swift Accelerator class of 2024. I'm a year 1 student, I'm a year 1 student at Anderson Serangoon Junior College this year, and after I graduated from the program, I came back and started helping out in 2025. 2 years ago, I was introduced to Swift Accelerator by my CCA teacher. He mentioned how the program explores Swift in depth, and since I was interested, I signed up for the program briefing, just like this one. I was very excited, and the session allowed me to gain a deeper insight into the program, which further fueled my interest. However, the briefing was scary, with words of application tests and 180-hour commitment. But nonetheless, with determination to get into the program, I pushed on with courage, and eventually, I got in. The first day was very different from what I expected. It was challenging, learning something completely new, and my alumni mentor sat by my side and helped me with my code. I felt left out and different from the rest, but I realized that everyone was facing the same issues, and we all had no clue what we were doing. That shared beginning brought us together. We supported and encouraged each other when things got tough and grew side by side. We were just a group of people strung together, but in the end, we became a close community, bonded by shared struggles, perseverance, and the unforgettable trauma of YJ screaming at us to stop doom scrolling. After I graduated, I had the opportunity to come back and help out. It meant supporting students who were just like me, facing the same challenges I once did. Being able to give back to the community that nurtured me was incredibly meaningful. However, going through another year of the program was definitely intense, balancing schoolwork and spending my Saturdays at One North. But the fun we had and the memories forged made the experience even more rewarding. There's always something new to learn at Swift Accelerator. We come from all walks of life, from secondary 1 students to junior college students. Everyone starts with something to learn and something to share. Even after graduating, I still learn something new every time I return. From students to alumni, we grow together by solving challenges, sharing ideas, and laughing at brain rot. But that's what I love about our community. Everyone has something to contribute. To tell you more about the program, here's Tristan.
Thank you, Brian. Swift Accelerator was started in collaboration with IMD and Apple. It's an 8-month-long talent development program for secondary school and JC students. Within those 8 months, it's not just learning how to code. You will pick up skills like design thinking, storytelling, where you learn how you can present and share your ideas with others, and of course, coding and developing a prototype. Though, there's one thing that I would like to mention, one very important thing. This is not a competition. This program isn't meant to be competitive. It's not about whose idea or app was the best executed or whose idea was the most audacious. This is a learning community. The purpose of the program is for everyone to learn, for everyone to have an environment where they can work together in and not work against one another. And this is what we've been pushing for over the past few years. We've been encouraging students to share ideas, collaborate, and take risks. This gives them the space to innovate, get feedback and guidance from alumni mentors and their peers, and learn from one another. We've run this program for the past 8 years, and it's been really fun every year. But every single year is different in its own ways. It's unique in its own ways. And because each batch is different, with every new batch, the program evolves. To tell you more about the Swift Accelerator class of 2026, here's Tia-Chen.
Thanks, Tristan. So Swift Accelerator is actually built on a very special and unique system. And at the heart of this entire system are alumni mentors. These mentors guide, the students through the entire journey. And what's really useful about this is that these mentors are folks who've just graduated or graduated a couple of years ago. So these are other students who, know a bit more, and they can help to support students in a lot of amazing ways. And foundational to that is the structure we're built on top of. So Swift Accelerator adopts a challenge-based approach. And what that means is essentially, throughout the program, students will work in groups to research, design, and build apps to solve various problems. And this is how you put what you've learned into practice. So when you learn a concept, you build a project, to kind of put all of this into practice. But these projects aren't just any projects. All of these projects will solve a problem, they'll solve a challenge out there, and they'll be real research projects. So the program is split up like this. There are 3 different challenges, and they're creatively named Challenge 1, 2, and 3. And how they work is they build up in scope. So Challenge 1 generally is the easiest one. When you just start out, we get you to do a single feature app. So that's one single feature that solves a single problem. And then after that, we built a technology-driven app in Challenge 2. And this is to encourage students to go and explore information, find out all of the different information, the different technologies, all of that fun stuff. And then in Challenge 3, that's finally when you get an app on the App Store. So you learn about how you can design an experience that is really fit for the App Store. Getting rid of all of that placeholder data, all of that things, it has to work for the App Store. So there's so much more consideration. And we've seen this work with so many different batches. Throughout each challenge, students will go through the entire process. So, they start with ideation, where they start thinking of what ideas they want to work on, what problems they want to start out with. And then after that, they start researching. So they find all the different information they need to tackle this challenge. So they might even include interviews, surveys, and all of that kind of thing to get a good understanding of the problem at hand. And then after that, they start designing a solution around it. And this could involve prototypes, countless iterations, showing it to different people, getting feedback, all of that. And then after that, finally, when everyone's satisfied, they start building. And the feedback process isn't done there. When they build the project, as they finish things, they show it to mentors, they show it to stakeholders, other folks, and they get even more feedback. And finally, they showcase it. So every challenge ends up with some sort of a showcase event. In Challenge 1, we have a huge showcase party where we invite parents, teachers, all of that stuff. And in Challenge 2, we have like a smaller showcase, and in Challenge 3, the showcase is the graduation event. It's a lot of fun, every single showcase. So we've been using this model for a couple of years now. And one of the amazing things for us is really every single graduation when we watch all of these students graduate and go through this process. So 2 weeks ago, during the graduation from the class of 2025, we saw 17 incredible apps developed by the students. And these apps range from personal finance to things about collaboration with different partners, like Sparkle Talks to use machine learning to identify dental issues in preschoolers. The class of 2025 has truly built some really extraordinary apps. But that's not all of the apps that they've built. Because of this challenge-based structure, they've built a combined total of 60 different apps, of over 60 different apps, all in 9 months. And all of these are different apps that solve different problems, that explore different technologies, and they, in some way, help to make the world a better place. So, on top of an app on the App Store, students will also walk away with one sponsored attempt at an app development with certification. So this is an industry-level certification, and it's amazing because, I saw a question that just came in about DSA and all of that. Perfect. This goes nicely in your portfolio and all of that, where you can just chuck it in there, and it's a nice certification that you can call out. So I've spoken a lot about the program itself, our incredible challenge-based approach, and the apps that you might end up building, and also some of the opportunities that you get along the way. But I think it's worth putting into context all of this, because we've been gone through 9 or so years. So what has this program looked like? So in total, we've had 461 alumni, 461 folks who have graduated from this program, 461 people you can lean on if you need help, if you need any support. And even for me, I find it useful because I can ask them for things like university advice, for advice on schools and all of that things. And over this period, we've had 57 different schools. And I think this is worth highlighting because a lot of times when you look at a program like this, it always seems very exclusive. A lot of people are from, what would you consider, your top schools. But we really welcome every single school. We really believe in that diversity of opinion, having different people on the team who's from different backgrounds, able to create something even more interesting, a better solution at the end of the day. And finally, over all this period, we have had over 100 apps on the App Store. So all of these are the apps that the students have built throughout the program. Let's talk about some of the news articles that our students have been in first. So this is just one example with a couple of different folks who have won the Student Challenge, who built interesting apps, and I think it's really cool when you see all of these work feature on the news. And I think the greatest testament to what we're doing here is really when we hear from students themselves. I know we've heard from a couple of students, like myself, Tristan, Brian, but when you hear from the students who are not right in front of the cameras and everything, when you hear from the folks who've been supporting all of this, And so this is one example. This over here is Vidushi from last batch, and she shares about how her experience was really memorable, dynamic, and life-changing. And she really talked a lot about those bonds that she made throughout the program, because this program is really a lot about collaboration, working with a lot of different people to build apps and tools. And then Ara, from the class of 2020, who shares about how this program really helped her get out of her comfort zone. And she actually came back as a mentor, like Brian and Tristan, and still actively returns to support the community. So that's Swift Accelerator, a hands-on journey where you'll learn a lot about coding and design, and it's a really incredible experience. And I mean, that's coming from me, but if you're interested and you think this is the right program for you, here's Brian to tell you about how you can apply for the program.
When applying for the program, here's some important information to take note of. A Swift Accelerator is an incredibly collaborative program where you'll be working with many different people to build projects. You should be able to commit to the full 180-hour schedule. You can access the schedule at swiftin.sg/join. As you'll be building projects with Xcode and Swift, a MacBook running macOS Tahoe is required for the program. If you do not have one, do check with your school if you're able to loan one. Many schools are able to provide a loan device. Each project begins with understanding people, identifying real-world challenges, and using design thinking to create thoughtful solutions. This takes a lot of time and effort. You're looking for students who are curious, eager to explore new ideas, and comfortable learning by trying, failing, and growing. We believe in teamwork. Each student contributes their own strengths, and that's how ideas turn into incredible apps. They frequently work in teams and collaborate with one another. If you're willing to support and work with your teammates, the program is just for you. A big part of what we do involves researching, planning, and designing before we ever write a single line of code. We believe great apps start with great thinking, and here, you'll do just that. We understand that every student learns differently, and this program may not be the right fit for everyone. That's why our application form includes a short application test. It helps us ensure the program is the right fit for you, so your experience is meaningful and enjoyable. You can submit the completed form by 4th March, 11 p.m. Well, the application test is just a starting point. While it does help us gauge suitability, it can only tell us so much. To help us better evaluate your application, we may invite some students to take part in a 45-minute evaluation activity via Zoom. You'll be notified by 5th March if required to attend the activity. An invitation to the activity is not an indication of your application status. It will be released by the end of the day on 10 March via email of your application status. Well, what is needed in the application form? We just need your personal particulars, like your full name, school, age, and how we can contact you. To better understand your thinking process and strengths, the application includes 4 coding questions, 2 design questions, and 2 short written questions. It's not meant to feel like an exam, just an opportunity for us to get to know how you approach problems and express your ideas. Please try to complete it on your own without external help so you can see your authentic work. Finally, we will ask for you to indicate your availability for the evaluation activity between 6 and 9 March. That's about it for Swift Accelerator. We covered the people behind the program, how the program works, and the application process itself. Before we start answering some of the questions you submitted through the QR code, Chashan will answer some frequently asked questions.
Thank you, Brian. So we've been looking at all of the different questions that you've submitted over the past few weeks, and here are a couple of the frequently asked questions that we've been receiving. So the first one that we get a lot is who can apply. So this program is designed for secondary school students from MOE schools. So that means that we can accept all the way from secondary 1 to secondary 4. JC students, we are also able to accept them. However, we do recommend that if you're Sec 4, JC 1, or JC 2, please check your schedules. We do not recommend JC2 students register for the program. Unfortunately, for students from polytechnics or international schools, we are unable to have you, but feel free to just drop us an email. We'll also send along any resources that we might have that we can help. Regarding the dates and times for the program happens every Saturday, either in the morning or afternoon. So you can select a session, whether you want to attend the morning session or the afternoon session. There are also weekday sessions during the March, June, September, and November holidays. For June, classes will only be held on the first and last week of the holidays. So this gives you some time if you want to go overseas with your parents and all of that. Location-wise, All of the classes will happen face-to-face at Apple Singapore. So that's at Innovis, near One North MRT. Alternative venues, so these are basically spaces that we might host classes in, will be at the Apple Developer Center Singapore, which is really nearby the Innovis campus. It's about a 2-minute walk away. And also the Tinker Tanker's office at Marymount. So these are not alternative venues that you can select from, but for instance, when we have something like consultations, we might host it at the Tinker Tanker office, or showcase events might happen at the Apple Developer Center in Singapore. Cost-wise, this program is fully sponsored by IMDA. So it is completely free, except for the devices. So every student is expected to have a Mac. And speaking of Mac, if you do not have a device, we aim to loan one out to every single student, but do reach out to your school to see if you can get one from them. Schools are able to loan Mac laptops from the SSOE2 portal. We will not take whether or not you have a Mac into consideration as part of the admissions process. We aim to provide every single successful applicant with a device. Should you select the morning or afternoon session? Select all of the sessions that you can commit to. So selecting more of the sessions will increase your likelihood of getting accepted into the program because that allows us to better fit it into the schedule. But please make sure that you can fully commit for those sessions. Can you sit into other classes? So let's say if you had a morning class, can you sit into the afternoon? Of course. You're more than welcome to stay back, or you want to come earlier if you want to do your work, do your own projects, anything like that. We just ask that, you be mindful that other people are having class, other people are doing things, so do things quietly in a separate room. That's perfectly fine as well. Are there makeup classes? Unfortunately, because of the structure of the program, it does make it really hard to have makeup classes. While we do record lesson content, we don't offer makeup classes because a lot of the value in what we're doing is really in that interaction with your peers, with other students, with the mentors and all of that. So it doesn't really make sense for us to have makeup sessions, and it's really hard to kind of record that content. You can't really record like a group discussion and bring it over, right? So yeah, so that's one of the tricky things here. And if you're not invited to the evaluation activity, not to worry. So the evaluation activity, we need to emphasize, is not an indication of acceptance into the program. The official applications results will be released on 10th of March by the end of the day. So do not overthink it. If you're not invited, it doesn't mean that we rejected you or anything like that. So that's about it for our questions. So thank you so much for joining us. And on behalf of the Swift Accelerator team, we wish you all the best for your application, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.